Everybody, well, welcome back to the podcast. I have two beautiful women with me. Yola, how do you say your last name?
Alsabog.
Alsabog. No. And Tiffany
Grunberg.
So close. I just didn't want to mess them up, you know. So I want to thank you guys for coming out here. We just got done having amazing training, and wanted to kind of come in here and pull some things together and kind of pick your guys' brains a little bit. You know, we're three pretty strong women in the business. We've been doing it for a while, and so I kind of wanted to talk about that, right? Because I think that there is a lot of women out there that can definitely relate to maybe some of the struggles and how we were able to overcome them. So I kind of wanted to just, briefly, ask you guys, like, what's your been experience so far? What do you think some of the pitfalls that you've gone through, and how did you kind of overcome them?
I think the biggest thing, being a female in a male-dominated industry is a real thing. And I think trying to avoid that or act like it's not a real thing is something that, I think we all do in the very beginning. Like, we don't get different leads than the boys. Right. We don't do, we get all the same opportunities. But sometimes you feel like you kind of got to carry a little bit of a chip, especially in the beginning when you're running this business, because you're racing against, kind of the unknown. Like, you're in a male-dominated industry, and it's not talked about a ton, but it's real. And I think sometimes it has weight if you give it weight. And I think FFL does a phenomenal job not giving it weight, right? Yeah. We, again, same level playing field. We all have the same opportunities. But it can be something that's daunting, because there is a legitimate difference in men and women in this business in a great way, an absolutely phenomenal way. But I think that we, as women, there are things that take our minds away from the business, because we can't just get in and just straight line. Right? We are always going to have a scenario where we are pulled in 47 different directions, and that can be really difficult. It can be very hard to refocus on your business. It can be hard to get through the anxiety and guilt that you're feeling about being pulled in so many directions and find balance. And I think that I'm excited about this podcast, because I think we need to talk about it. I think there are phenomenal women in this business, single moms coming out swinging and writing, haven't been in the workforce and are now doing, gold jacket or red jacket numbers and Hall of Fame. I mean, this business is real, and it's tangible for every female that can be in it. And I think we should talk about it. And I'm excited that we're doing that.
Well, I love that you said that. I can definitely attest to probably a majority of the stuff that you talked about. The guilt, that stuff is so real. And, we were talking about before this that, we like to kind of carry this responsibility, right? Like us women, we love to wear like multiple different hats, right? And sometimes we put that on pressure on ourselves. And then we want to blame the business for defeating us, right? Yeah. And that's not real. It's like all these other things, all these other hats that we're wearing, we allow those things really put pressure on us. And really, for me, I had to take a step back, and I had to really start looking at things on an outside perspective and being like, okay, what am I really doing, right? And I think it's also that mom guilt. We were talking about before just this last weekend, I'm running appointments, I'm having a horrible day, right, out in the field, and my daughter calls me, and she's like, Mom, come on, come pick me up early. I want my friend to come over and stay the night. Like, just reschedule your clients for tomorrow. Like, come on, like, Mom, I miss you. Oh, right.
Right in the feels.
Listen, I hear you. I understand that. But Mom's Day doesn't get over until 7:30. Like, that those are the rules, right? Because if I was working a 9 to 5, that's how I would have to treat it, right? Yep. And it's so those little tiny disciplines, and I have to be okay with sometimes them being not okay with my decisions, because sometimes they can't see it in a bigger picture, right? That was the one thing that I had to do, is I had to be able to make disciplines for not only me, but not allowing anything to infiltrate those disciplines, right? And really sticking to my guns about that. I think the other thing that you kind of hit on, like, really, really big is, there has been places that I've worked before where it was a complete boys club, right? And it felt like I was never going to be able to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish because I didn't have that upper hand that some of these other men in the business were getting, right? But I agree with Family First, it's not there, right? Yeah. You know, I work really closely with Paul McLean, and he has helped me so much on my mindset on that because I carried that stuff over here and I projected it onto him. And it was like, almost like feeling like, oh, it's the same thing over again. But between him and Andrew Taylor, they showed me that that's not the case,
right?
You know, just by their actions. So I really love that you talked about that.
I think I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think that's what attracted me to Family First Life in the first place, is because there is such a level playing field. We can get all access to everything just as much as the guys can, and we are highlighted just as much at Family First. I mean, everything that we have been able to do for women, especially in this industry, I feel like has changed a lot, because I don't have to worry about, I came from an industry where you had to be liked in order for you to get ahead.
Yes.
And I had to suck up to the wrong people, not necessarily people I really looked up to. It was the part of, you know, what you did. So for me to be here in an industry that doesn't really discriminate against if I was a man or a guy, all I have to do is just get out there and work. That to me was that's what sold me on the whole idea.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So.
And I think, like, I had a manager at one point in this business before I got to Family First Life tell me, you can never be a manager for me because I cannot control you.
Oh, wow.
And that was, by the way, like, if you're out there and that's what you're dealing with, call us.
Yes.
Absolutely call us, because you don't have to deal with that. And Family First Life has done such a good job of making it so that that's not, like, that is not a rule here. And it's almost like a rule in these other companies where that's how it has to be. And like you said, you have to be liked to get leads. What? How is that even possible? And as a woman, to be able to be 100% in control of your business and have a company behind you that wants you to control your business will absolutely give you the opportunity to change your future and change everything about your family's life, your kids' life, you know, your spouse's life, all of those things. And I think we really just, again, given us the opportunity to feel all the feels, because we get to, when we're emotional creatures. That's how it works. And you don't have to hide behind it.
Yeah.
You can call Paul, you can call Matt for me, you know, you can call anyone, and they're going to listen and allow you the opportunity and not make you feel terrible for how you're feeling.
That's right.
And that is a game changer in this business. By far.
I absolutely love that. Like, that was the make or break for me, when I would sit there and I would listen to what he was spewing out, and not just like this ramble about pushing me to do bigger numbers, but really helping me dig deeper into the way that my mind worked, and not judging me for it, but more or less uplifting me and empowering me. That's when I was like, okay, like, he cares, right? And I love what you talk about, because I think for women, that's the difference, right? We were talking about, you know, this book that we're reading, Think and Grow Rich, for women. Right? Yep. Napoleon Hill's granddaughter came out with it. And it's really helped me kind of shift too, because it's like, you know, men have this idea of success, but women's idea is completely different. And that really helped me really dive into my why, right? Because we talk about that all the time. What's my why? Like, yes, I want to have better for my family, but it's got to be on a bigger spectrum. Right? Like, I was just talking to my recruiter, and I was like, I want to save every agent that's not getting 100% comp.
Right.
Like, that's my goal. Every single agent in the country, and hopefully Canada soon. Sean Mike, let's go.
Right.
But, like, I want to, that's my goal, right? Like, I want to save everybody so that they can make the money that they deserve when they're working hard. That's that helped me. Like, that book it just clicked. Right? And being able to kind of have that something where I feel like I'm a part of something bigger. I think this is what we need as women to feel like we're successful, right? Because the money for us, it doesn't really matter, right?
No,
like,
it's not. We're not numbers driven,
right?
Yeah. The money's nice, right? Like, you're crushing, you know, 250, right? Just killing it. But like, when you think about that opportunity, like, what, like, for you, what changes did that make in your life? Because money's important, right? Nobody's going to sit there and tell you, you know, when you're making six figures, it's not important. Right. But what big thing changed for you when you started making money like that as a female?
I was able to invest in myself a lot more. I wasn't where I needed to be as a human being and as a person, partly because of the industries that I have come from before. They don't really teach you how to be a better person. They teach you how to do things, right? You don't, you blindly just kind of hope that your hourly is going to make your bills. And that we all know that doesn't work, especially when you're at a place they tell you how much you're worth and how much when to come in and where to go and stuff like that. That to me has been so liberating, because when you're making that type of money, and I've never made this, I've always come from professional fields. I was a casino executive before this. I've always made money. It's not money that has ever defined me. I feel like this industry and this Family First, especially because I did try out a couple of other IMOs before this. Let's be honest, you have to kind of kiss a couple frogs, right? Right? Personal and professional. Hello, right? But just knowing that I can make a difference in not just myself, but everybody around me and everybody that, I'm able to be involved in things that I would have never been able to get involved in. I'm part of a nonprofit that I get to give back to. I empower other people because I'm okay I'm not worried about my own bills being paid at this point. I'm worried about everybody else kind of coming up with me and truly making a difference in people's lives. Because to me, if you're not really making a difference in somebody, in your own life or in somebody else's, then you're really not doing it for the right reason.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. That's so good, guys. Before this, too, we were kind of talking about the power of the woman in the home. Let's dig into that, because that's guys, anybody that's watching this and you're a female, I don't think that you really understand, how much more successful we can be than the men, because there's just something about that, right, Tiffany? The way that we can challenge in the home and the nurturing and the caring that we bring into that house. Let's talk about that for a second, your guys' experience about that.
So I find that just from the phones on, right? Because I'm looking at a lead and I'm super passionate about it, or a new agent, right, that's coming into the field. And I'm super passionate about their growth or making sure this family gets protected. And then when you pick up the phone, you have the ability as a female to find empathy in anything.
That's right.
Absolutely anything, whether it's the tone of the sweet little grandma, right, who's just so sweet on the phone and you're coming to help her, or it's the, 45-year-old male who doesn't want to be bothered and you just kind of wife tone that, right? You come at him real hard, right? Or,
I love that.
Right? Or you come mom voice, right? At whatever it is, we just have this opportunity to really be more present, I think, when you're sitting with clients or sitting with agents, and really care about what's happening outside of just what you do. I know I've been with clients and, there's been points and times where I've just set the financial inventory aside and I've listened, because people need you to hear them. And sometimes, male or female, I think we both are guilty of this every now and then, of just forcing ourselves past their circumstances.
Yes.
And if you want to be great at this business, you can't do that. You have to put yourself in their circumstances and then show them what happens if, right? What happens if he doesn't come home tomorrow? Because let me be super clear with you. He's not coming home at some point.
That's right.
And neither are you. So that's not an if, that's a when. But let's talk about the if. Because it is easier, and I totally agree, it is easier for us to be able to say, Dawn, stop talking, you're dead. Why are you still talking? She can't hear you, right? Nobody's going outside to pick up that firewood and bring it in the house. It's 40 degrees outside, she's not doing it. What is she going to do? And I think we have just an innate, natural way of doing that that's challenging. Right? It's like challenging your child to go switch the laundry when they absolutely are not going to do it, right? Fist down, not doing it. It's the same with a client, but there's a natural ability for women in this business. And I think that's why you're seeing so much explosion of people, of women coming into this business and hitting the ground and just winning early. And I love it. I get so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Right? I'm like, dude, did you see this chick? She's running 30 appointments a week. Alondra's amazing, right? You see her growing this amazing agency, Asher Gronberg, all these folks. It's it's there for the taking. And I promise you there isn't an industry out there or a company out there that can help you do it better than Family First Life. And we know that because I've been out there.
100%.
I know that.
100%.
Well, women are empaths too, so we're supposed to be empathetic towards everybody's life and where they've been. To me, the financial inventory, of course, is a give me at every appointment. You have to do your financial inventory. You got to know what kind of position you're putting these people in. But I'm more curious about people, so I ask questions, and I'm able to relate to them in a way that I know because I've been there, or I know somebody that's been there, or I can actually talk them through something that I myself can relate to, and just asking the right questions and having that conversation. Because if you think about it, what you have kind of taken onto yourself, which is this business, is for you to help families. You're there to help them. So if you're not going to help them, what are you there to do? Just listen. You touched on something that's great. Listening is the number one thing I would say that has made me so successful, is because I will sit there and I just tell them that I'm a human. We all have our ups and downs. We all are going to go through something that's going to define what we are as people and our roles and stuff. But death is inevitable to all of us. So what are we going to do when something happens? And being a woman, experiencing loss myself and grief myself, not necessarily to break me, but to be able to have that side of me that still breaks me. Right. Does that make sense? And I do get emotional, and as you can see, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that helps me a lot because I don't truly sell anything, and that's what I tell people. I find a need, and I request, and I fill that need. But if there's not a need, I'm the first person to tell you, you don't need life insurance. You're okay.
Right.
And that's, to me, again, being a woman, being able to relate to people on that level and not push past it. Like, this is important. What we do is important because that day will come.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, whether we're expecting it or not, it's still coming. So what are we going to do to be prepared for it? And that's the kind of approach that I take with my clients. And I always ask them for permission to just be upfront and honest, because whether you're going to like what I say or not, I still have to say it.
Right.
So
I totally agree.
I think that, and I think that there's another thing. Like, I think that everybody you sit with needs life insurance. Everybody. Like, and you can be empathetic about, if you don't need it, I'm absolutely going to tell you. I'm also going to tell you you need it because I don't believe that you don't. You know what I mean? So there's that ability to be able to, again, lead, guide, and direct in a way that sometimes I think it is a little bit more difficult sometimes for people.
I definitely agree. And for me, like, on another level, like, I geek out, right? Like, I love sitting with, like, old people, like, over 80 and just be like, so what is your, like, number one thing you attest to your 65-year marriage, right? While I'm writing the application. And I just love that, right? I love hearing people's stories. And I'll be honest, I think it's reason why my persistency is so good. Because people really, truly know that I am there for them and that they look at me like a daughter or a granddaughter sometimes, and that's really important for me in the way that I run my business, right? Because I really want them to know that I really, really care and I'm here to the end, right? We were talking about that earlier. Like, I am here when you pass away. This is my phone number. Save it in your phone. I make everybody do that. Put my phone number in your phone. I'm not just giving you a card. I'm not just giving you a leave behind sheet. Like, put my phone number in your phone. And that literally separates that, oh, she's just here to sell me insurance from, well, she actually cares. She's now part of the family, So I think that that's super key. The other thing that I really wanted us to kind of touch on, because this is something I really, really struggled with for years. I really struggled with it, and it was the sacrificing, right? Because everything inside of me says, I'm not sacrificing my kids. I'm not doing it. I'm not sacrificing time with them. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then I had to take a step back. And, I talked about this the last podcast, but like Rochelle Nelson talked about it at convention. And she said, I had to sit my kids down and let them know that we're doing this together. And I was like, whoa. That changed my life. Completely changed everything. So I've sat them down. I had to hire a nanny, right? Because I can't work this business. I can't help other agents if I'm not willing to do it myself, right? So I had to be able to put everything. I got my partner involved. I was like, this is what we're going to accomplish, right? I want to be able to retire him so that he can be home with the kids instead of the nanny. So we came up with this plan together with the kids, and I was like, you know, what can we do to make this work together? And they're like, we want a vacation once a year. Done.
Right.
I will work my butt off. I will make sure that I can manage that, right? Because if I take a couple of days off, I got to double up the next week and the week before, right? I can make that work. And so it was like almost sitting down and coming up with this concrete plan with my family together so that we can accomplish the goal. That subsided that battle of wanting to sacrifice, because now it's not about sacrificing. Now it's like, I made a commitment to my kids. I got to show up. So it was almost like it reversed it, right? It made me hold myself accountable because now I'm doing it for a bigger purpose.
You have to communicate. You have to. And from the very beginning, like if you're a female coming into this business, you set your own time clock, okay? You are the CFO of your time now, where you may not have had that before. Mm-hmm. But that does not mean that you stop going to work.
Right.
And I think sometimes we, as women, come into this and now we can stay home when we want and we can do these things. But that's not what this is about. If you communicate and you tell your family, these are the days I'm working. And I'm working these are long days. Like that's what we called it. Like these are mom's long days, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, those are my long days. I'm going to be in the field, until you're in bed. Probably I'll come in, give you a kiss goodnight and tell you I love you, but I'm not going to be there. And then, I was home decent hours Monday and Thursday because those were my phoning days. So I would make dinner and we would have dinner. And then Saturday, I sacrificed every Saturday morning, and my kids play ball. They play softball.
Too.
Right? Really? That's awesome. Look, moms. Yay. Yay. Softball moms. We're all crazy. But their games were Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
And when I started this business, I phoned 9 to 12 every Saturday with religiously every Saturday, 9 to 12. And I had to sit them down and tell them, you guys, I love you, but we are doing this together as a family to change our lives.
That's right.
And now my kids are like, Mom, are you going to work? What are you doing? Like, it's like 8 o'clock. You're still here. When are your appointments? And they ask me now, right? I remember one big thing, like if you're new in this business and you're starting this and you've got kids at home, do a calendar. Mm-hmm. Do a countdown, like 30 apps in 30 days. Yeah. And let your kids mark it off. Like, Mom, how many did you do today? And you mark it off, right? You mark those tallies down. And then there's a prize at the end. Like there's 2-day vacation, like heading to the beach or something like that, that's important to them. Let them pick it.
That's right.
Change the way they see your business, and you will change the way you see your business. And like you said, you will start being dedicated to your schedule even more because you're not as guilty.
That's right.
Because female guilt, mom guilt, spouse guilt, these are real things, ladies.
Real deal.
And they hurt.
Yep.
They hurt, okay? Because you're trying to give everything to everyone because we take it on ourselves. It's our fault. Let's be clear. We know it's our fault. We do. Like, we totally do. But at the end of the day, if you create a schedule and you communicate.
Yep.
I communicated so well with my husband. He quit his job and now he sells life insurance. And he's really good at it, right? So if you communicate what the goal is and what's out there. Like I remember when the first time I bought plane tickets for my entire family. Like my kids had never been on a plane and they were like 12. And we were going to go to Hawaii. And I bought the plane tickets and I was bawling. Because I was able to buy 5 plane tickets to Hawaii when I never could have done that before. And that's when you change.
That's right.
That's when you change. When you get a housekeeper, right? Or you get a nanny.
Yeah.
Or you get to give back to your family and you give that guilt less power. Yep. Like that's when you can take your business to another level. And
you know what I realized too? My eyes really opened like a couple of weeks ago when they were like, Mom, I don't want to grow up to be a cheerleader anymore. I want to grow up to sell insurance like you.
Oh, that's
I want to be just like you. And I was like, what?
I love it. No, you did it.
Right? And I was like, it's working. It's paying off. Because that's the ultimate gift, right? And I realized that I'm teaching them work ethic.
Yes.
Like, let's be honest, kids these days, sorry, anybody is watching this, like, I worry for my kids. Right? I'm like, okay, we gotta do chores and like I gotta teach them about work ethic. Like, it's really something real that's on my mind, and it's happening organically because I'm just showing up different.
Yep. They see what you do.
And I think that the other thing that's really, really important is, the other day I was, I don't listen to music anymore. I kind of just listen to podcasts because I'm messed up. Like, I'm going to keep it real. It's taken me 2 years to get to this place of being able to build this thing because my brain is messed up. I had to be retrained, and the only way I could do that is through the podcast, right? So we're listening. So the other day, my one daughter was like, hey, can we actually listen to music? And my little 6-year-old goes, no, I want to listen to Paul McLean. And I was like, I'm going to tell him you said that. I'm going to tell him you said that, right? No, the one on belief, Mom. I want to listen to that one. And I'm like, oh my gosh, see? And it's cool because it's like the stuff that they're teaching us. Could you imagine if we could teach our kids this stuff so that when they grow older, like they're already equipped with some tools of life? Like, it's such a bigger deal.
Yes. But imagine if, here's the thing though, imagine if Family First Life kept that in.
Right. Or made us pay for it.
Or made you pay for it. Right?
Imagine if this wasn't free.
Exactly. Imagine if Family First Life just kept that to themselves. Like, I know in other IMOs that's out there.
Yep.
They just hide it, right? Somebody's being successful and they guard it.
Yeah. So weird.
Like, why would you want that?
Yeah.
How can you want to be anywhere, number one, that's not giving you comp starting at 100? Like, that's insane. Let's, be big kids and do math. It's not that hard. And then be somewhere where everyone wants you to win. Nobody's like rooting against you. Like, if you go to other places, I know you got to know the people that are rooting against you. You can tell they won't talk to you because they're too good for you.
Yes.
Right? You can be at those conferences that you paid hundreds of dollars to be at, and the people that are winning stand with the people that are winning, and they don't talk to you.
That's right.
If that's happening, come on over.
Yep.
Family First is absolutely, I mean, we're coming for everybody.
Yes.
Right? Because this is where it's at, especially if you're a female in this business and you feel like that ladder is just never, ever going to let you reach the top. Because I know you guys are sitting out there and some of you are thinking it, right? You're thinking, I'm giving away all this time from my family and I'm getting paid 40% comp. That's not what you have to do. Like, you can be here. You can be here with the rest of us and learning to get better, right? Learning to be better and being okay, being empathetic, not having someone call you crazy.
Yeah.
Because you're empathetic to people.
And honestly, finding your tribe. Because these people are going through the same things that you are, and you're able to reach out to a lot of people. I reach out to Katrina on the regular just because we've had a personal relationship, being in Vegas. And that's the other thing, is being into your local office. That helps you so much.
Oh, man.
Because there's so many people that you can connect to that not necessarily on a podcast. We've been very fortunate and lucky that we can actually do this. But there's so many people that are inspirational and amazing in every day that they do things in their life that I can just name off 10 of them right now, but you just reach out to them and they're there to help. You'll never kind of gain from them because your agencies are different, but having that person that just you can call on and say, I'm having a rough time, I need help, where do you think I should go from here? And it helps and it catapults so much because we feed off of each other. All of us are we empower each other and we help each other with all of this, right? So it's just so amazing. This is the only company I've ever worked at where you actually have that platform and have that voice that you can actually reach out to the Andrew Taylors of the industry and the Paul McLeans and actually call them up and say, hey, I'm having this issue. What can I do? And, I know that we're talking about women and empowerment in the business, but there's a lot of men that have done this that are just so incredible that help so much, and women, yes, we talk to each other a lot different. I feel like we approach each other a little bit different because I won't call Katrina the same way I call Paul. Let's be honest. But having that structure and knowing that it's okay to reach out. We're all going to go through it. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. You fail. You fail as fast as you can. You fail forward, and everything just kind of starts clicking from there. Yeah. That's right.